Welcome back to Big Block Nation. Today's feature and the next scheduled project for 2022 is my Rogers Bonneville jet boat. I traded my wife's Mustang for this boat because I couldn't give her Mustang away. It was a 94 and apparently nobody wants those yet. I had it for sale for 2.5 years and the car was incredible. I probably had $8,500 into parts alone into that car. And I traded it for this thing to a guy at the parts store. He needed wheels and he had 2 boats. I didn't need the wheels and I didn't have a boat. I sold mine. So we did a trade. The body on it and paint was horrific. It was this ugly orange. The paint was chipping and flaking off. So I had this boat sitting here and I pulled the motor out thinking I was going to put it in my '69 Chevy. And then I ordered parts and found out that parts is a nightmare and my parts took 6 months to show up. And by that time I got sick of waiting, so I put the motor back in the boat. And now it's taken us a long time to get it back together. While it was sitting around, my friends over at Total Hardcore Canadian Customs, they had nothing to do at the time. They were waiting for their new shop to get built, so they said, well, we need something to do. Instead of going and buying one, why don't you just pick one out of my pile and paint it and we'll get busy on it. So they did. It is loaded full of metal flake. I can't remember the names of the colors. He created those specifically. You cannot buy those colors. They're actually created. Well, the bottom was done in a nice metallic white. The motor itself came with dyno sheets. There was $17,500 spent on this motor. It is a 99 L29 454 bored out to 461, so it kind of matches my Jimmy, with an 871 and twin Demon 850s on it. It makes 630 horse on race fuel according to the dyno sheets. The interior was completely trashed. So I did an all new carpet and underlay. We have 12-inch subs, the speakers under there. So it's getting a full boom system with LED lighting. But we got the motor all in, had it all the wiring hooked up, and the motor would turn over, and then we ran into issues with the wiring. None of the gauges worked. There was power going to places that shouldn't have had power. They were supposed to be on accessories, and then we found out that all of the wiring harness, they drilled holes in this floor and they ran it under the floor, and when they hit all the wiring would go from an orange wire to a yellow wire to a brown wire and then sometimes to a black wire, and it was really confusing. And when I discovered that one wire had 3 attachments on it, well, that's not acceptable when you're dealing with something like this. I don't want my boat catching on fire. That's just hokey crap. I don't want it fixed. So now we had to undo all the wiring. We are redoing everything. I actually have to cut that wood panel out of the floor, and we're going to turn the battery box sideways so I can fit 2, because this thing only ever had 1 battery in it, and 1 battery to turn that, power LED lights, and a stereo is not enough for me, so I want 2. So Monday, what is that, the 27th, my friend Doug, who does a lot of the wiring and tuning around here, we're going to spend all Monday trying to deal with the wiring, and you never know, hopefully this thing's running Monday. When this thing showed up last year, I traded in the snow. I traded for a jet boat in the snow. That is the second boat I have bought in the winter while it's snowing that I couldn't test. Fingers crossed, both have worked out. So next week it's probably going to snow if this thing is ready to fire. But my goal is to hopefully fire this thing up for you guys for the holidays. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So Monday we will be in here all day long doing wiring, and then I can bolt the headers and valve covers on and see where we're at. But that is your 3rd Big Block Nation feature, and that is enough to get my channel launched and visible. So let's move on.